Welcome back to Top Dog Tips. Thanks for joining us for this video on the 11 most deadly dog diseases. This is going to be a detailed discussion about the most deadly dog diseases. Just a heads up that there will be two parts to this video, so stay tuned for part 2. When you adopt a dog, you expect to deal with some health issues eventually. While most common conditions dogs suffer from are mild and often treated easily, others can be severe and cause irreparable organ damage. It's best if pet owners are aware of the most deadly dog diseases to prevent them in the first place. While some deadly diseases in dogs are inherited or unpreventable, your dog could avoid others like cancer. Knowing what those deadly dog conditions are, how to recognize signs and symptoms, and what to do to treat them can save your dog's life. Let's get started. The first most deadly dog disease on my list is rabies. Rabies is one of the most infamous deadly dog diseases that everybody's heard of. It's a virus that's always fatal. Another reason why rabies is so feared is that humans can also get infected if they are bitten or scratched by a rabid dog. This virus takes 2 to 8 weeks to develop fully, and symptoms may not become apparent before those stages are reached. That's the reason why rabies is so deadly in dogs. There's no way to diagnose it before the symptoms appear, and it's too late to do anything once the problem becomes evident. A dog infected with rabies will display several signs of extreme behavioral changes like apprehension, restlessness, and ultimately aggression. Dogs will often bite, lick, and chew the area on their body where a rabid animal bit them. Fever is another common symptom of rabies in dogs. As the virus progresses and the dog's condition worsens, the animal may become extremely sensitive to light, sound, and touch. In most cases, paralysis of the jaw muscles and throat occurs, which is why rabid animals start foaming at the mouth. In the final stages come disorientation, weakness, seizures, and sudden death. The good news is that rabies is a preventable disease. While there is no cure for it, you can keep your dog up to date with their vaccination and you won't have to worry about it. Rabies infection in vaccinated dogs is sporadic, even after receiving a single vaccine. Unfortunately, rabies does still kill tens of thousands of people worldwide, especially in less developed countries around Asia and Africa. However, even in the US, this has been reported in all states except for Hawaii, but cats are reported to have rabies more than dogs. Second on my list is canine distemper. This is another vaccine preventable, but otherwise very deadly dog disease. It is a contagious viral illness, a relative of the measles virus that affects humans. Unvaccinated puppies and older dogs are particularly susceptible to this illness. Canine distemper is transferred through direct contact and airborne exposure, which is what makes it so contagious. Canine distemper virus, also called CDV, attacks the tonsils and lymph nodes before attacking the respiratory, gastrointestinal, urogenital, and nervous systems. CDV symptoms come in 2 stages. In the first stage, dogs usually suffer from fever, watery eyes, nasal discharge, and appetite loss. Some other symptoms you may notice include coughing, vomiting, diarrhea, anorexia, and lethargy. Your dog may also develop hyperkeratosis of the nose and paw pads, which causes the dog's feet or nose area to become enlarged and hardened. As the disease progresses to the second stage, some dogs may suffer neurological problems like head tilting, muscle twitching, paralysis, seizures, and convulsions. Distemper is statistically one of the most deadly dog diseases, as studies show a very high mortality rate among canines. 60 to 80% of dogs die from this condition. We can't cure the canine distemper virus, and treatment focuses on managing and relieving a dog's symptoms. That includes IV fluids for diarrhea or anorexia, antibiotics if a secondary bacterial infection is present, and potassium bromide or phenobarbital to control the dog's seizures and convulsions. Since there's no cure for this virus, prevention is vital. Keep your dog up to date with core vaccines and avoid contact with infected animals. Be cautious when socializing with unvaccinated puppies or adult unvaccinated dogs. The third most deadly dog disease is fungal infections. While fungal infections in dogs usually present only a mild nuisance, some of them can be quite serious and even fatal for animals. Fungal infections that only affect a dog's skin are easily treated, but those that affect a dog's entire body are dangerous, especially if they spread to the lungs, liver, or brain. The most deadly dog diseases related to fungal infections include histoplasmosis, blastomycosis, valley fever, and cryptococcosis. Valley fever is a non-contagious dust-borne infection that dogs can contract. It's mostly present in dry regions of the southwestern US and valleys of Southern California. Symptoms vary depending on the severity of the infection and the organs that are affected. Signs include loss of appetite, cough, apathy, fever, enlarged joints, and diarrhea. Ulcers may appear on a dog's skin as well. Treatment includes the prescription of antifungal medications and often lasts from 6 months to a year. Cryptococcosis is a fungus found in soil worldwide, but you can also find it in bird manure, particularly pigeon droppings. This disease affects the dog's respiratory tract, eyes, skin, and central nervous system. Symptoms of cryptococcosis in dogs are usually most noticeable in the animal's eyes and include inflammation of the eye and bleeding in the retina. Treatment involves various antifungal drugs, which can be administered for several months for most cases. A dog may need surgery if lesions are present in his nose or nasal cavity. Histoplasmosis in dogs is a non-contagious infection caused by the histoplasma fungus that can be found in soil across the world. In the U.S., it is most commonly found in the Midwest and southern parts of the country, particularly in river valleys. A dog's lymph nodes and lungs will get infected first, but the gastrointestinal tract can sometimes be affected as well. Unfortunately, symptoms are non-specific because various organs can be involved. The most obvious signs include digestive issues like diarrhea and weight loss. Coughing and difficulty breathing are also common. Treating disseminated histoplasmosis in dogs is complicated. It involves administering antifungal drugs, but also includes supportive care like adequate nutrition and constant hydration. Antifungal treatment usually lasts for prolonged periods of time. Blastomycosis in dogs is caused by the blastomyces fungus that thrives in wet, acidic soils and rotting wood or other decaying vegetation. This infection usually spreads through a dog's lungs, but it can sometimes spread through the skin. Common symptoms of blastomycosis in dogs include coughing, difficulty breathing, fever, weight loss, and apathy. Sometimes the dog's lymph nodes may become enlarged. Treatment of blastomycosis entails prolonged administration of antifungal drugs. Dogs with breathing difficulties may need supplemental oxygen until their lungs start to function normally again. Number 4 on my list is leptospirosis. Leptospirosis is an infectious disease that affects both animals and humans, and it can spread from your dog to you. A few different bacteria cause leptospirosis in dogs. It can be contracted through direct contact with other infected animals, by ingesting infected meat or feces, or by getting in contact with anything contaminated by an infected animal's urine. Leptospirosis infection can present itself in many different and subtle symptoms, which can also vary in intensity. Some dogs may even be without symptoms at all. Still, most canine leptospirosis signs include fever, increased thirst, urination, lethargy, sore muscles and stiffness in joints, loss of appetite, diarrhea, vomiting, and jaundice. Leptospirosis is one of the more deadly dog diseases because studies show that it's fatal to the animal in nearly half of the cases. Since this is a bacterial disease, a veterinarian can treat it with antibiotics. However, it is essential to start the treatment as soon as possible to increase survival. Vets can prevent leptospirosis with commercially available vaccines that protect dogs for at least 12 months. The 5th most deadly dog disease on my list is heartworm disease. This is another serious dog disease that can result in death, but can also be easily prevented with proper heartworm medicine. This parasitic disease most commonly attacks a dog's heart and surrounding blood vessels, although you can sometimes find worms in the lungs and other areas of the circulatory system. Adult worms can live up to 5 years and may cause many serious health complications in dogs, including death. The progression of canine heartworm disease is divided into 4 classes based on the severity and symptoms exhibited. The first class is often asymptomatic, which means that dogs usually don't show any disease signs. Dogs with class 3 heartworm disease may suffer from weight or muscle loss, dry or greasy hair, extreme intolerance to exercise, difficulty breathing, and fluid accumulation in the abdomen. Class 4 heartworm disease is the most serious stage in which dogs develop a life-threatening condition known as Cavill syndrome. Cavill syndrome in dogs means that there are too many heartworms present in a dog's heart. Treatment for heartworm in dogs involves medication to kill the circulating worms. In most cases, that entails 3 injections spread over 1 month. Hospitalization is needed during the administration of these injections, or even beyond that if your vet recommends it. Some medications like doxycycline or prednisone are prescribed to decrease your dog's chances of reacting badly to the death of the worms. In the next video, I will continue discussing the most deadly dog diseases. Keep your eyes peeled for part 2 on our YouTube channel. If you want to make sure you don't miss part 2 of this video series or any of my other content, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Top Dog Tips, and check out our website at topdogtips.com.